Well, today I'm going to talk about drugs, namely medication type drugs. But before I do, what do you think of this shirt? I was persuaded by both John and the seller that this shirt is going to look really good with one of my jackets. And I have to say that I do rather like this collar. You possibly can see that it's got a little lilac pattern and the stripes are lilac and sort of darker lilac, and it's meant to be worn, if I can get this bloody undone, like that. But anyhow, we're not talking about my shirt. One of the things that really pisses me off, greatly pisses me off, is the amount of people that think that they have a right to Facebook me or email me regarding my drug use. My prescribed drug use, I might add. Now, I'm very fortunate in that my doctors, the one that I had, Elizabeth, and now my present one, Ruth, who we always call Dr. Ruth, and we find that quite amusing. I'm not even too sure that she would understand why, and maybe you don't understand why either. But Dr. Ruth, anyway, she's quite lovely, as was Elizabeth. But the thing about the pair of them is that they are palliative care experts. They are really into pain management, and they tell the truth. Did you know, for instance, that all these right-to-lifers that think that if we make it legal to have assisted suicide or euthanasia, that everyone's going to start going around killing people like me, the disabled, or we are going to feel like we're such burdens that we really ought to top ourselves? I've never heard of anything so bloody stupid. But they also lie, and by that I mean they keep saying that there's absolutely no need for anyone to die in pain, and that's just bollocks. It's not true. My doctors will tell you, and the percentage is actually really high, of people whose pain cannot be managed no matter what. No matter how much drugs you pump into somebody. And I know this. I take, 40 odd pills a day, including morphine, and now something called baclofen or beclofan. It's a muscle relaxant, and I have to say that it really does a good job. I quite like it. I'm doing everything much more easily, and I feel more relaxed physically. I mean, things don't seem like such an effort. But anyhow, the thing is, I take morphine, the big M, and that sends off alarm bells in so many people, even into medical people. I mean, you'd have thought medical people wouldn't be so ignorant. And yes, I am being rather blunt, because it is ignorance. Medication, pain medication, used for the right reason, does not cause addiction. Abuse causes addiction. Taking morphine when you haven't got pain causes addiction. People like a friend of mine, whom I was about to name and realised I really ought not to, but she was on morphine for 10 months. And when she finally had her surgery and the pain went away, the morphine was stopped, just like that. And did she go raiding chemists in the middle of the night for morphine? No, she didn't. Did she sit and crave for morphine? No, she didn't, because her pain wasn't there anymore. And the duty doctor I saw, we spoke about this, because it took me quite a while to stop worrying about it. And he said that people with spinal tumours, and he immediately said, no, and I'm not talking about you, you haven't got a spinal tumour. Because sometimes I think, it's quite possible my doctors lie to me just to make me feel better. But anyway, no, I knew I didn't have spinal tumour. But he said, and then they have radiation treatment, and the tumour shrinks, and they stop taking the morphine, and they don't crave it either. See, now the amount of morphine I take varies day to day. Go away, you'll knock the tripod over. No. Down. That's Chase. Why do they always want to do something when I'm busy? Stop. Anyway, as my doctor points out, what is really important is quality of life. Now, the condition I have, which is causing my spine to dissolve, to fall apart, and you can imagine, well, maybe you can't, but your spinal cord is protected by your spine, and in various parts, like in my neck and in my thoracic region and in my lumbar region, that ain't happening. I've got all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff going on. Now, without pain medication, I'd be sat in this chair and I'd be in pain, but I wouldn't be able to move. I wouldn't be able to dress myself. I wouldn't be able to get out of bed myself. I mean, as it is, I sometimes can't. I mean, after last week's dog show in Driffield, you know, cold windy day on a racecourse, the following morning I most certainly could not get out of bed, not even with John's help. I laid there, and it's the closest I've come to crying in pain for years. I remember exactly the last time I did, and it was this time in 2004, because I rather stupidly drove back from Copenhagen to Calais to the tunnel, which is actually Coquelles, not Calais, in one go, just stopping for coffee every now and then. And I was in agony for a week after that. And this was also the time when I was refusing to take medication, because I was a dickhead. Because I was frightened of medication. I listened to too many people, like those people who write to me to tell me, oh, you shouldn't take morphine, you'll become addicted to it. Now look, I have a choice. As the chemist pointed out, by the way, so what if you become addicted to it? You're never not going to need it. And he's quite right. I mean, my disease is incurable. And I don't know where it's going to lead. I know the possibilities, which could mean not being able to walk at all, not being able to wipe my own bum. I don't like to think about where it could lead, but he's quite right, I will always need medication. And I do take rather a lot now, but it all works, and it works really well. Because, as my doctors have pointed out, I need quality of life. I don't need to just exist. I don't need to just manage. I need to be able to do what I want to be able to do. You know, I want to get up and I want to get dressed. I want to swim. Swimming's really good for me. I love being in the pool. I like to show my dogs. I like to take care of my dogs. I like to groom my dogs. They need it. I like to get up and put a record on. You see, I couldn't do any of these things without my medication. So why on earth do you think I shouldn't be taking it? There's just so much ignorance when it comes to drugs and addiction. I mean, it's a good thing that addiction has become so well known. You know, it's not under the carpet anymore, and, you know, there is help for people who are addicted. But that isn't me. And you've no need to fear that it will be. You know, I'm not about to go out coshing old ladies over the head and hoping they've got morphine in their handbag. You know, I'm not going to perform a raid on my Tesco's in the middle of the night. I know where their drugs cupboard is. I've seen it often enough. Because my drugs are under special lock and key. And, you know, this is the really peculiar thing. It is under special lock and key. And they have to go and get it out of the safe. And they have to be accompanied while they do this. And they have to sign for it. And I have to sign for it. I have to sign a special thing. And then they just give it to me. And, you know, I wonder if it occurs to them that just from leaving the pharmacy and hobbling along or wheeling along, depending on what I did, back to my car, I could get coshed over the head and my morphine could get nicked. So, it is rather tempting to say, just mind your own business, but that isn't what this is about. I'm trying to educate you here. You know, that there is no need for people to suffer quite as much as they do. And getting back to one of the points I made earlier, if you think that, look, in one dose, I take 800 milligrams of gabapentin, 100 milligrams of tramadol, 1 gram, i.e. 2 500 milligram caplets of paracetamol, and 20 to 40 milligrams of morphine. That is one dose, and I could take that same dose every 4 hours. Oh, and baclofen as well, a 10 milligram dose. And at night time I take amitriptyline. I'm not sure what that does. It's only 30 milligram dose. But that has some pain relieving qualities as well. Anyway, so I take this stuff. And it enables me to have a reasonably good life. Well, I think I've got a very good life, to be honest. But that isn't the point I was going to make. The point I was going to make was, I still get pain. It doesn't do away with it. I was really surprised at that. Because, like everybody else, I believe this hoary old tale that painkillers work. And that they get rid of all your pain, and that's that. Well, it seems to me that possibly some pain needs a general anaesthetic. And if you're going to need to be under general anaesthetic in order to control your pain, you might as well be dead, mightn't you? Because that's where it's leading. So, please don't worry about the pills I take, or about anybody else's. You know, and please don't talk to them about it, because you just make them feel guilty and bad for what reason? You know, you're the one with the issue, not the person taking the drugs. I do find it makes me very angry to know that there are doctors who won't prescribe because they're frightened. And from what I gather from my American friends, It is a very serious problem over there. Doctors not prescribing drugs, pain-killing drugs. I guess because they're frightened of being sued. Or because the insurance companies won't allow them to, or whatever stupid dickhead reason they have for leaving people to suffer. And I do know people who do suffer, and I know that they suffer because I know they have a disease the same as mine, and I know what that is without medication. I don't think you could possibly have any idea. Imagine have you ever had a toothache? A really bad toothache that just doesn't go away. It's there 24/7 for years. Or have you twisted your ankle and the pain that causes? But we're not talking about that causing pain briefly, we're talking about that causing pain permanently, 24/7. Have you hurt your back by lifting something? You know, you rest a day or so and that's it. Not so, not with pain like this, not with a disease like this. That pain never goes, it's always there. So of course I take medication, because I want to live my life. If I was forced to live without medication, I'd top myself, because I couldn't tolerate it. That isn't living, that would be existing, and it would be torture. Why? Just to suit some stupid, moralistic, Calvinist, stoic, puritanical, poncy twats who are frightened of drugs, or who think take it like a man, suffer, as if that's going to get you to heaven. Oh, look at me, I'm suffering. Dear Lord, I'm suffering so much for you. I wasn't talking to you. I know I was putting on a silly voice. You're going to knock my tripod over. Piss off. So, that's about it today. I hope you've got the general gist of what I was trying to say. Is do mind your own business when it comes to my drug taking, or anybody else's drug taking for that matter. We need them for the reasons I've described. There is absolutely no reason, nothing to be gained from being a martyr and being in pain when something can be done about it. It can be lessened, and that's the important word, lessened, not cured, lessened. And I don't know about you, but I quite like wiping my own bum. I don't want you to do it. I don't want anybody to do it. I want to do it myself. I like the idea that I can dress myself. I don't like the idea that I can't always stand up on my own. I frequently fall over, like in the pool again yesterday. But the pool staff, they're so good. They know me, and they're ready. They always are. I've never actually fallen because they are just so quick to grab hold of me. Anyway, you might have gathered that I'm knitting while I'm talking to you. And I've almost finished. See? This is a tube sock. No shaping at all. And I'm very nearly finished. I'm within rows of finishing. Anyway, see ya.